All right, so for me, poetry
is an art form.
What's up? I'm Ketayma Stewart, and I'm here to do some poetry. This paycheck to paycheck shit ain't no joke. Every time I look at my bank account, I think I'm about to have a stroke. I cannot wait for the day that I can buy name brand cereals without breaking a sweat, or get clothes from the clearance rack without any regret. Yet the end of this thing we call the struggle couldn't get here any quicker. But it seems that the light at the end of the tunnel has become nothing more than just a flicker. 56% of hiring managers don't pick resumes with stereotypically black names. It doesn't get any blacker than mine. But why is it that people treat others who have a different name like it's a fucking crime? I'm sorry that when my family was holding their first son, they didn't think to themselves, you know what? Let's give him a name that makes sure he gets a job. Concerned with protecting their precious gift, they actually gave me a name that translates to one who lives on a mountain with God. I've had family members, friends, and professors tell me that I should go by my middle name, and I just refuse. Because my name is something I hold dear to me, and it's just a part of me I'm not willing to lose. If you're too stuck on my name to see my qualifications or the fact that I'm 23 and pursuing my master's degree, then maybe your company is just not somewhere I need to be. So I'll keep eating my fake ass Apple Jacks, my Frosted Flakes, and my Honey Nut Cheerios without the B, because I'd rather be broke and stand on my own 2 feet than work at your company on my knees. Actually been motivating me for years. I mean, I've had the name Ketayma for years, and I don't know, it's just that I have my bachelor's degree, I'm getting my master's right now, and I still haven't been able to get a job. Like, I have years of management experience and all those other different things, but I've always been kind of ridiculed for having a different name. I mean, I just didn't think that having a different name was that big of a deal. So I just got frustrated and just, you know, came up with the idea that if I have to compromise who I am, I mean, we already have to compromise who we are when we're doing the job interviews, but if I have to compromise something as simple as my name, then it's just not worth it.
And I heard you make reference to your middle name. What's your middle name?
Oh, my middle name's Elijah. You know, a lot of Elijahs, you know, a lot of, you know, different names and common names, but you ain't never heard of Ketayma, and that's the type of person I'm trying to be. Someone you ain't never heard of. I use this poetry as therapy to set my inner thoughts free so I can eventually become the man that I want to be. So in gist, I use this poetry as just a release to get rid of all the thoughts that I feel like have been holding me down for a really long time. So it's therapy. That's what it means.
This is Poetry in the Park, and this piece is called I Don't Need Religion. Found after years of tragic deaths, under the strength of flaccid faith, the black bastard wakes and regains composure. But colder, because I still earn the weight for my worldly weight to decimate, be lifted up off my shoulders, as promised to the followers. That's still waiting, but why bother with these fictional tales would pop up pictures of hell, goodie bags and treats for those loyal with care, holy as hell, preaching the words for the great prophets, inspired by the prophets. Oh, what great nonsense. Upholding ideals that was force-fed to us after freedom was abolished. Now adultery is sultry. So excuse you, soak it in exchange for another idol who has claims of great treasure. Information from feathered gods. I'm only man, so what do I know? Except for set calls, you know, blood, crib, soup, sex, frauds, jail, collect calls. And when tears fall, I still blame my sinuses. Cause now I'm a rider when it comes to war. Taught to disguise what's inside of me, victimized when it comes to flaws. Exploited, and now I know it all. And seen it all from the scenic halls to love me whole, knowing I reek a malt liquor. This ain't no different. I'm still pouring out my soul for acceptance. I just changed how I pitched it. Still seeking a fairy tale life. I just exchanged it for a better picture.
That piece to me was more of a rebirth of my faith after trying to find myself through many religions. Always being told that the ideal person has to go to church, has to act a certain way, you know, and always being reprimanded for trying to be myself is what caused me to write down those things. It's what caused me to write that down and express myself in that manner. So that piece to me was just a way to express myself and say that I'm not gonna go by what you have taught me. I'm gonna try to find my meaning for life. Poetry is an art form. You know, it's beautiful. It's the way that you get to express yourself when you feel that you haven't been heard. And for years I felt like I've always been speaking to people, always been trying to give people advice, and nobody wants to listen. And I feel like I have a lot to say. I have a lot to tell people about my life, what I've seen around me, and poetry is that art form, is that way of expression that I get out, those inner feelings, those inner thoughts to the world. You know, for someone to hopefully understand what I mean or relate to what I mean and, you know, like the art form, like my expression. So